Before drawing this ground area or hill, we analyze what we are going to do. First, we divide our painting to three areas: highlight, mid-tone, and shadow. In mid-tone, again, we have three steps of color. We start with base color, then we make it lighter, and we paint the second layer. Then again, we make it lighter, and we paint the next layer. Highlight is the most brightest color in the painting, and shadow is the darkest area in our painting. Usually, the highlight must consist between 10 or 30% of your painting, same as shadow, 10 or 30%. But mid-tone can be something between 40 or 80. It's not exact science, but in this way, you can keep a contrast that looks good to the viewer's eye. If you add a lot of highlight or if you add a lot of shadow, the contrast between highlight, mid-tone, and shadow is not interesting anymore. So imagine this part as the main meal and highlight and shadow as salad or something similar that will be added to the main meal. If you use a lot of salad or soda, you cannot eat your main meal. But if you eat your main meal and use a little salad or soda, you will enjoy your food. When we start with base color and we make it lighter in 3 steps, use a brush that has soft edge. And use activate transfer with pen pressure to make this blending a soft blending. It's the start of the work. Next, again, when the transfer is activated with pen pressure, use a brush that isn't soft to create random details. You have this brush, or you can create your own noise brush. There are a lot of brush that can create noisy effect like this. We already talked about this effect here. This is the soft blending, and this is the blending that use a brush with noise. Next, add grass with a high local contrast. When you are adding grass, turn off transfer and turn on shape dynamic. Put the control on pen pressure. In this way, the shape of your brush will behave like real pen. If you press more, the drawing will be thicker, and if you press less, the drawing stroke will be narrow. If you look at this grass, the contrast between the grass and surrounding environment is high. So the grass is very different from the surrounding area. Or this one. Or this one. Then Paint road. You start with the base color again and draw this area to feel sense of depth to your road. Use darker color to make it like the area that is below the grass. Then use color balance or Control B to modify the color of your painting. Next, add flower or a small stone to make your painting more interesting, to add life to your painting. Same thing applies here. You start with the base color, you make it lighter in 3 steps, then you blend the layers together. Use a brush that is not soft and create this random blending. Then add grass, color correction if you want, paint road, and add a small detail like this wooden sign or this small stone to make your painting more interesting. So we start with base color, we make it lighter in 3 steps, we blend them, we add grass, we paint road, and we color correct, and we add flower or a small stone. As I explained, I start with the base color. I draw a selection area, then I paint with a soft brush to start my painting. Next, I select a lighter shade of green. I moved in diagonal direction, and I also change hue toward a warmer color in the color spectrum, toward yellow. Again, for next lighter shade of green, I move diagonally and more toward yellow. You can press and hold tilde key to switch the brush tool and raise the top part of the ground. I changed my brush tip to a hard brush tip so to have a sharp edge at the top of the ground. Next, we use the brush that we explained earlier that has texture and noise to create more detail in the transition area. So we make it more believable grass. Again, I use soft brush to paint road on the ground. I start with brown color. I add darker shade of brown to the side of the road So it feels the height of the road is different from height of the grass. I want to add pebble and a small stone to the rock. So I need a darker shade of the brown. As we already talked, I move in the diagonal direction. So both saturation and brightness will be changed and will be darker. I will also add scratch on the road so make it more believable road. Next, I start to draw grass. I try to pick color sample from the area that after drawing the grass, it has obvious contrast with the surrounding area. So the grass is obvious to distinguish from the surrounding environment. I also turn on shape dynamic and put the control on pen pressure. Flower will help to look your environment more naturally and more believable. I start to draw outline of the flower with lasso tools. Then I add red to the selection to paint petals. I add darker shade of the red to the side of the petals so it don't looks very flat. Finally, I add yellow to the center of the flower. You can use color balance to edit the color of the flowers, or you can use hue saturation to change the color of the flower to have new variation of the old one. Remember to paint shadow beneath the flowers so it looks like the flower are part of the environment, not something that is detached from the environment. We are almost done, but the ground painting is not tileable. What is tileable and why should we use it for our art asset? Let's talk about it. If I draw a selection with marquee tool on my painting, then I right click and if I press layer via cut or layer via copy, I can create a new layer from the selection. You can see now I have a new layer in the layer window. If I put this new layer beside the old one, you will notice that they don't exactly match each other. But if I copy just one side of it and scale it in negative direction to invert it, minus 100. Now, if I snap this piece beside the old one, they exactly match each other. I will bring this new piece to the other side and I will start to merge these two layers using Ctrl E. Then I will start to paint, so the new layer will look like that is the continuous of the old one. When you are making game, you need to optimize your game so all of the device, even they have a strong hardware or weak hardware, be able to run your game. To optimize your game, one of the technique is to use your art asset again and again. To have reusable art asset, you need to make your art like this, a tileable asset. As you can see, because the ground now is tileable, I can use it again and again. Of course, if you paint a longer ground, you can see less repeated pattern again and again. But on the other hand, it will use more memory to load. This part, the top part, is longer. So if I repeat it, you can hardly see a repeated pattern